And we begin with breaking news here at 5 o'clock. 7 people are dead in a crash on I-5. Several others are hurt. The crash is about 7 miles north of Albany at milepost 241. Early reports suggest it involves 2 semi-trucks and a passenger vehicle.
Officials say to expect long delays and a detour in that area. Northbound lanes are completely closed. Southbound, it looks like you are seeing a significant backup. Investigators say they expect to be here for at least the next 24 hours as they figure out what happened. So these closures could be lengthy. Again, 7 people at least confirmed dead. We'll keep you updated with new details as they come in.
We want to turn now to continuing fallout from the big apartment fire in downtown Portland. Homeless advocates say that building that went up in flames was actually one of the better affordable housing options in the Rose City. Good evening, I'm Brittany Fulgers.
And I'm David Mulco. The fire at the May Apartments displaced dozens of people. Our Mike Benner is back in Southwest Portland this evening for the 3rd day in a row. So Mike, what's happening out there now?
And they're further assessing the situation, and you can't blame them. Since yesterday, even more of this building has come crashing down to the street. Clearly, this block continues to be a dangerous spot.
A fire escape dangles off the east side of the crumbling May Apartments. Below that, you'll notice debris covering the sidewalk and street. Reminders that in all likelihood, the people who called this place home will never go inside again.
And I'm still trying to take it in. I'm still sometimes thinking I'm going to be able to go and retrieve some things. So it really is unbelievable.
Barbette Grace is one of the dozens of people displaced by Tuesday morning's 4-alarm fire. She's now staying at a shelter the Red Cross stood up at the University of Portland.
They have been wonderful. They have provided clothes and toothbrushes and soap and showers and food.
And according to Barbette, resources to help with what comes next. A challenge for anybody, let alone the residents of the May Apartments.
A lot of folks living there, this is a tragedy that is really epic for them because they don't necessarily have the resources to bounce back from something like this.
Scott Kerman is the executive director of Blanchet House, a nonprofit that provides meals and transitional housing in Old Town. Kerman says the May Apartments were among the better affordable housing options in the area.
Over the years, we've had a number of people in our program who have found really good housing over there.
Kerman says his team has reached out to those people to see what kind of assistance they might need, perhaps a short stay at Blanchet House.
It's not just the fact that they've lost a place to live, but they've just been utterly devastated.
If anybody can relate to that, it's Barbette Grace. Only difference is she's filled with hope, too, because she was set to move out of the May Apartments and into a new place very soon.
My horoscope said I was going to have new beginnings, so I don't usually listen to a horoscope, but this one certainly seems true.
Our hearts certainly go out to Barbette and everyone else impacted by this fire. A bunch of GoFundMe campaigns have been launched to help the displaced. You can find links to those fundraisers on our website, kgw.com. In the meantime, there's still no official cause of the fire. Officials plan to fly a drone around and into the building sometime tomorrow afternoon, and the hope is that footage captured on that drone will pinpoint a cause. We'll, of course, stay on top of it. For now, I'll send it back to you.
So much loss and so many questions. Thank you, Mike. Well, if you heard your smartphone buzz just about an hour ago, you likely received an Amber Alert for a 2-year-old police say has been kidnapped. Authorities in Nampa, Idaho, that's just west of Boise, say 36-year-old Rodolfo Reyes kidnapped his 2-year-old son, Rudy, this morning. Reyes does not have custody, police say, and they believe the pair may be traveling to Oregon. We've got 2 vehicles to keep an eye out for, either a gray Honda Civic or a gray Lexus. They both have Idaho plates. You can see those numbers on your screen right now. Authorities say Reyes has been known to carry a pistol. They describe him as 5'9" with an average build and tattoos on his neck. Contact authorities or the Amber Alert tip line if you spot either vehicle or if you have information about the kidnapping. Developing this evening, a 19-year-old swimmer is presumed to have drowned after jumping off a footbridge on the edge of the Columbia. Officials have been searching the Cascade Locks area for him since yesterday, but so far have not recovered his body. Witnesses say he went off a footbridge between the boat launch area and Thunder Island. Officials say they believe he was swept out into the main river channel.
Now to Portland's homeless crisis. Another sanctioned safe rest village with individual pods is getting set to open. It'll be the biggest one yet. The city had an open house celebration for the site in North Portland today. But as Tim Gordon reports, not all the neighbors are celebrating.
Well, I was here in February of 2022 when the city first named this as a safe rest village site. Neighbors had concerns then, and they still have concerns today. This is the Peninsula Crossing Trail Safe Rest Village, nearly complete with 60 tiny homes, set up with dressers and beds, and strategically placed along pathways of fresh cedar chips. And now neighbors see the future of what was a field with a walking trail running through it right behind homes in the St. John's neighborhood. It became a haven for homeless campers. Plenty of that continues not far from this sanctioned site. Gary Horton says concerns over the village have been made worse by the city doing little to reach out to homeowners.
That was the wrong thing, I think. Just because of the fact that we didn't have any input on this whatsoever. None. Zero.
San Francisco-based Urban Alchemy will run the site with 24/7 security and support for those transitioning out of homelessness.
We really want to give folks an opportunity to choose the space kind of where they want to be.
Kirkpatrick Tyler says they've had lots of success and that it starts with providing a safe place to live.
You don't have to worry about somebody coming and stealing your stuff. You don't have to worry about someone coming to victimize you.
The formal greeting for the gathering came from City Commissioner Dan Ryan, who oversees the Safe Rest Village program.
This is about going from isolation to connection. This is a community, and it will allow people to be connected to one another. It allows the case managers, the mental health therapists, the behavioral health therapists to get to know people by name. So truly this is about hope and it's about healing.
But still, neighbors with arms folded and concerns from George Siebold, whose home is closest to the village. The bathroom and kitchen facilities just feet from his living room window.
Can you explain with all acreage here why the toilet has to be here and not there?
The city's explanation, access to utilities requires the bathrooms be in that spot and that it should be quieter than the living areas. So while this may not be perfect for all, some neighbors do hope that campers already in their area will get a home here.
If they're going to help those people out and get them in here, that's awesome. I think it's great. I think that is really good. I'd like to see them get people in here and make it so that they can get off the streets.
We tried to pin the city down on exactly when this Safe Rest Village is going to open. They're not being very specific other than to say there's a lot of work that's going to happen in the next few weeks, and sometime after that, they'll start having residents here. In North Portland, Tim Gordon, KGW News.
All right, still a lot more work to do, it looks like. We've got an update tonight on the Republican-led walkouts in Salem, where 10 Oregon senators are now ineligible for re-election. That's after 6 more senators reached 10 unexcused absences. Let's bring in Evan Watson in Salem. Evan, I feel like I kind of know the answer here, but any sign of compromise?
Yeah, David, there's little evidence that these two sides are going to come to an agreement anytime soon. Republicans now have, most of the Republican senators have pushed right past the threat of consequences for not showing up to vote on bills. That means the Senate remains stalled without a proper quorum. 10 Oregon senators, 9 Republicans and 1 independent, are now ineligible to serve an upcoming term after the group skips session again on Thursday. Senate President Rob Wagner, a Democrat, once again criticizing the political power play.
This walkout must end. The people of Oregon desire it. Democracy demands it.
Republican Tim Knopp, minority leader in the Senate, joined the list of senators with 10 unexcused absences.
When we went down this road, we all recognized that there was a potential risk, and we are willing to take the risk to defend democracy.
That 10 unexcused absence threshold is a new one, set by voter-approved Measure 113, which was designed to discourage, if not prevent, walkouts just like this one. Republicans plan to challenge Measure 113 in court, but they have showed little care for the consequences over the past 3 weeks. Sandy Chung, president of ACLU of Oregon, said lawyers on her team believe 113 will hold up.
Sometimes it has to be implemented in order for people to understand. It's not simply words, but there will be real consequences that are enacted.
Proponents of Measure 113 says it has to. 68% of voters passed it for a reason, to stop destructive walkouts.
This particular method was considered to be something that everyone really understood, and the voters were very clear. They really liked it, they got behind the idea, and they overwhelmingly said, absolutely, people should show up for work, and if not, there should be consequences.
But Republicans are protesting bills on reproductive health care and gun regulation, arguing for more parental rights.
The idea that we should just be a speed bump while the Democrats move their extreme, unconstitutional, and unlawful agenda is odd to me, considering that the Democrats killed the entire Senate Republican agenda.
Wagner says negotiations between the two sides have been unproductive, with neither side willing to move much at all. He says Democrats will not drop or change bills just because Republicans don't support them, arguing that voters elected a Democratic majority in the Senate to see these policies passed.
In a democracy, it is imperative that the minority should not have the ability to overrule and silence the will of the majority.
Wagner says he will not retroactively change unexcused absences to excused absences in any future negotiations. So these 10 senators would need to take on Measure 113 if they hope to retain their seats in the future. The next Senate session is on Monday. And David, there's little evidence or any kind of sign that these two sides are going to be talking over the weekend.
Evan, and I bet you're still going to be reporting on it at least next week, and we'll see what happens after that. Evan Watson in Salem. Thanks, Evan.